We want to welcome y'all out to another House of Consciousness production with my man, Brother Azariah. As you can see, we deal with all things. We are universal. We deal with the metaphysics. We deal with the militant Black Power movement. And we also deal with the occult realm. So we're going to get right in there.
First thing that came to mind is the ongoing case of Johnny Cochran. This is the Daily Journal. And this is Annan, the president of the world, of the UN, who was the president of the world. Now y'all know that Johnny Cochran was actually going to this guy with all the papers and documentation for reparations for black people. He even had the dates, he had the birth dates, the years, everything set, going before this black man, who is the president of the world, for reparations. And all of a sudden he winds up dead. Now you got to understand something. You have to think outside of what they're giving you. They're giving you that they poisoned him. And that is to get you away from understanding the technology that they're operating from, which we're going to deal heavily with the technology. You have the technology within you, and we're going to tap deep into that today. So they went after Johnny Cochran and then went after his son at the same time, saying that he had stolen money. And also trying to get him to resign. So they went after the whole slew of them. And so let me just show you some documentation on some of the technology that they use to cause sickness and death. This is coming from Dr. Alan Yu. Dr. Alan Yu. Cerebral hemorrhage is an induced illness or death surveillance system since 1960. What is cerebral hemorrhage? Is that an aneurysm?
Yes.
Is that the same family as an aneurysm?
That's an aneurysm.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happened to who?
Dr. Khalid Muhammad, they say.
Who else it happened to?
Johnny Cochran.
Right. The invisible operatives can use a chromal gun to burst an artery or blood-brain barrier in the brain of a victim to induce cerebral hemorrhage and cause a death or stroke. If one didn't have symptoms of stroke but suddenly got cerebral hemorrhage, it is definitely a created stroke and or death. So we know that Johnny Cochran, we know that Khalid Muhammad didn't have no symptoms that you would normally get to have an artery burst in your head. Understand that?
They can do that with cell phones too, right?
We're going to get into all the technology dealing with that. I just want to get this a little bit out of the way first.
What was the name of that doctor again?
Dr. Alan Yu. You can go on the internet. His name? Y-U. Dr. Alan Yu. I've been talking last 4 or 5 lectures. I talked about this stuff. Now here's the documentation. Only the cerebral hemorrhage, the artery is not blocked. It bursts or leaks. The sudden leakage of the blood can cause the target to fully lose consciousness and fall down. Isn't that what happened to Khalid?
Yes, sir.
However, human organ and artery should only be blocked but should not burst by itself. Operatives who use chromal gun bullets on the target person's brain, they can burst the artery or blood-brain barrier to leak blood and cause a cerebral hemorrhage. That's why most old people, even their ages are 80 to 90 years old, their artery or blood-brain barrier never bursts or leaks. It does show that invisible operative systems, surveillance stations and systems can use chromal gun technology to induce cerebral hemorrhage on their victim's brain. It means that symptoms for a normal stroke patient will first slowly appear on the face, hands or legs, blurred vision, numb fingers, trouble walking, or loss of balance, etc., but not appear first on the brain before the patient fully loses consciousness and fall down. Khalid had none of that, and neither did Johnny Cochran. One more. Now, it's my contention that, okay, yes, for me and you on the physical plane, the white boy has been our enemy over the years. and still is. But if you do some heavy research, you will find out there's something going on beyond him, because they're not only spraying us, they're spraying him too. We're talking about a type of alien invasion here. And I'm not talking about a physical, what they show you on TV, an alien landing in front of the White House and all this stuff. They're dealing with hyperspace technology. That means they can come through your dreams and control you. Chrono gun bullets will disappear after the created injury onto any target and leaves no trace of evidence. For example, the invisible operatives have induced brain hemorrhage on some senior patients who originally have stroke symptoms and stay in the hospital for a stroke. These patients would be considered to die from natural causes for their stroke. However, to mislead the public, the invisibility operatives of surveillance systems would especially induce cerebral hemorrhage on the stroke, patients who is a famous person in society. Thus, after the media report the famous person's death of cerebral hemorrhage to society, it can mislead people to mistakenly believe that cerebral hemorrhage is a natural death illness. That's it on documentation, Dr. Alan Hugh. Now, to detect a person using an invisibility suit in your house, you will need a red light bulb. It acts as a red infrared. You'll be able to see not only invisibility technology, but you will be able to see astral entities in your house if you think you have them. Red light bulb. It acts as an infrared energy. Okay?
Should we get a red light bulb?
Have all the color light bulbs. But in order to see these entities or invisibility technology, you need a red light bulb.